There are some good things and there are some bad things about living in Newark. One thing that falls under both of those categories is the public transportation. As some of you may know, I had to take the bus for my internship over the summer. My entire life I've used a car, so my first couple of times taking public transportation I made a few mistakes. The ride from Newark to Wilmington cost $1.50, but I put in a 20 thinking that I would get change. Then, on the way home from work, I missed my stop because I didn't realize that you had to pull the stop request cord for secondary stops. Needless to say, it was a learning experience, and I wish I had had someone to help navigate me through the system. It took about 2 weeks for me to get it down to a T, and for the most part, the bus system got me where I needed to go and was cheap. However, there were also a lot of days where the bus was unpredictable and unreliable. I know that most of you use public transportation to get around, but as graduation approaches, you will be thinking about whether you want to decide to switch to driving a car. Today I'll tell you some pros and cons about taking public transportation so that you can make an informed decision when the time comes. First of all, public transportation saves a transit rider an average of $770 per year and $9,000 annually, according to the American Public Transportation Association, also called APTA. This is calculated by taking into account the national average gas price and the national unreserved monthly parking rate. Our neighboring city of Philadelphia is ranked number 6 in the nation for the highest transit ridership and transit saving, so it just goes to show you that SEPTA is cost effective. Public transportation is lucrative, especially right now, because of the high gas prices. The APTA states that a 2-person household can save up to $10,000 per year by limiting their house to one car. They also estimate that the U.S. saves 42 billion gallons of gasoline annually and 11 million per day, which helps reduce our dependence on foreign oil and our carbon footprint. My second point is that public transportation is good for the environment. A bus with as few as 7 passengers is more fuel efficient than the average single-occupant car used for commuting. Similarly, the fuel efficiency of a full train car is 15 times greater than the single-occupant automobile. Put more simply, buses use 8.7% less energy per passenger mile, and commuter trains use 23.7% less than a typical automobile. APTA's report found that approximately 85% of greenhouse gas emissions come from the transportation sector and are related to transportation systems above ground. Along with this, the public transport in the U.S. saves 37 million metric tons of carbon dioxide annually. It is clear that public transportation is more beneficial for the environment than driving, but it is also a good source of green jobs. APTA estimates that 1.3 million new green jobs could be made in the next 2 years by increasing the budget for transit capital projects. In sum, public transportation is more environmentally friendly and than driving a car and allows for the creation of green jobs. It seems fairly obvious that public transportation has innumerable advantages. So why are 92% of bus riders of a minority and with a median household of $15,000? There is not much quantifiable scientific data to rationalize this trend, but there are quite a few social stigmas and qualitative reasons to help explain it. As minority bus ridership continues to increase, a racial stigma has formed that taking the bus is for lower class Americans. DOT has remarked that bus transportation could benefit from a new brand identity that helps improve the image that choice readers have. Other perceived drawbacks are congestion on the trains and buses, erratic schedules, safety concerns, and limited routes. The first point, that it is awkwardly crowded, seems like an insignificant fact. However, if you take public transportation every day and are uncomfortable every day, it will eventually wear on your emotional well-being. Secondly, public transportation can be very unreliable, especially more than driving yourself. If there is bad weather, road construction, or even a labor strike, then the buses could be over an hour late or not come at all. I have experienced firsthand the bus schedule and how late and early buses can be and how it affects my plans. This inconsistency can make it very hard to schedule plans in advance and make it very difficult to travel. Another con to riding the bus is the safety issue. Although you're much more likely to get in a vehicular accident in a car, various types of public transit have malfunctioning equipment and other safety concerns. For example, there is greater possibility that you will get robbed or attacked being on public transportation. Additionally, research has found that riding the transit during the flu season can increase your risk in catching the flu or other respiratory infections as much as 6-fold. And this is partially due to poor ventilation and has been linked to tuberculosis, according to the Washington Post. Finally, the bus will only take you so far. A lot of stops are considerably distant from your house. So this can be extremely tiring after work or very taxing if the weather is bad. Also, certain destinations are unreachable by bus and unavailable during weekends or evenings or holidays. As you can see, there are many different pros and cons of riding public transportation. As Robin Chase said, transportation is the center of the world. It is the glue of our daily lives. When it goes well, we don't see it. When it goes wrong, it negatively colors our day, makes us angry, impotent, and curtails our possibilities. Public transportation can be a positive or negative asset in your life, but the choice is up to you.